I mean,
And
it's
now
like
we're live.
any moment we can go live, but not everywhere. We still have to wait on the Instagram as I'm trying to sync it with the live streaming software. Hey, there it is. All right. I'm heading go live.
Instagram,
And
what's
now
up?
we are live on all available platforms to us. And once again, it's Thursday, the first Thursday in the month of March. Larry Mastropieri, broker, owner of the Mastropieri Group, alongside myself, John Laws of Discover South Florida. Big things happening in Boca Raton, as usual. But this time, we're going to get a new government campus. That's a redevelopment partnership, as the city of Boca Raton has officially selected Terra and Frisbee Group as its private partner to bring the government campus redevelopment master plan to life. The project will modernize the entire city center, creating a new civic mixed-use hub that will serve both residents and businesses. I know, Larry, you have been giddy about this for some time, and now we're finally getting to see all that planning, all that politicizing, everything that goes into it. We're one step closer to making it happen. So what stands out to you since you've had an opportunity now to look at the facelift for City Hall?
I think this has been like an 8-year process since they started talking about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
These things take a while, right? Which is crazy. And this is a 33-acre project.
It's big.
This thing is huge. This is huge for Boca. And it
was
seems
going
like
to
they're
say.
fast tracking this. Like they're making this happen, right?
And what's crazy about that is, they're trying to get the fast track now, hurry up and wait. But now it's kind of been the opposite way. But yeah, we're talking 33 acres. This isn't just, like one football field. There's a lot of football fields. Urban center, government buildings, residential spaces, retail, and public green areas. I mean, look at that. That's a lot of ground.
Yeah. And this is pretty big for everything that's going on in Boca, the real estate in the area. It's a big deal. It's a huge deal. I think there's homes we're working on selling that are just adjacent to this right now. And I mean, for anybody who buys in these like areas close by, it's 5 years from now when this is done, or whenever they get this done, it's going to be a totally different space.
I was going to say, is that already trying to become a selling point for you when you're working with these clients, being like, hey, I know it's not here just yet, but if you do purchase here, you're going to have this mega government campus right next to you, and it is the future. Just like
I think it's a combination. If you're like future focused and you're cool with getting there, because the process to get there is going to might be a pain. I don't think it's going to be that terrible, because I think they're going to do this in phases, right? They're going to knock out a building and then another part of the project, and then the parks and so on. So I don't think it's going to be super painful. But yeah, it's a selling point. And you and I have talked about this too. We're getting ready to prep some marketing videos for this for some of our clients, because we're listing property that is like adjacent to this big project. So yeah, I think this is huge, especially for like, if we just pop in here and let's kind of just look at this map. So this is like the area right here. If you guys can see my mouse, all right here. And if you know the area, and for those who don't, like if you just kind of drop in, I don't know, just drop in like right here. This is random. You can kind of see like some of this stuff. It's just like retail or older product from way back. Some of this is like 60s era stuff. So I mean, to just get rid of it all and make something super incredible will be super exciting. Like, for example, you can kind of see this is the type of stuff that's here right now. And, this is where we're headed.
Yeah, it definitely, it gives it a much more modern look. One of the things that I've always respected about, so many of these South Florida communities is how they do a good job of kind of giving it an overall, I mean, each part has its own unique bit to it, but I mean, it has an overall kind of uniformity to it that makes it look like it belongs there, and it's not just, you know, patchwork things.
Yeah, this will. I mean, this is such a huge project. It's gonna feel uniform because so much of the stuff is getting done all at once, right? Or
Right.
all over the next 5 years. What'll be interesting is this. Let me like back to this. Okay, so what's really cool about this project, what I always find highly effective for cities, Del Rey's done this really well, is when you kind of start putting all these things together next to each other, it creates this like central mass of action, right? And so this is right next to Meisner Park, which is right next to Real Palm Plaza, which has a whole bunch of development going on in its own right, adjacent, you know, big expensive condo buildings, et cetera. And there's more development going on in Meisner. So, I mean, all of this kind of connected / then connected to the Bright Line with, you know, big apartment projects, which, as we've reported on before, have, you know, they're upsizing that project to add another 400 units. You know, there's just a bunch of that happening all in this one central area. So this is going to be really cool. And then what's really neat, what I like about Boca, Del Rey has a little bit of this too, is you get these adjacent single family home neighborhoods, which are pretty walkable to all this stuff. So, I mean, investing in surrounding neighborhoods like these here and south of here. And so, I mean, Boca's expensive in general. So, but, you know, there's still some stuff in these neighborhoods that are $700, $600,000, which is like affordable for Boca from my perspective.
Right.
Because like an example right here, the dirt in this neighborhood is $2 million at least, maybe $3. So you know, you have this very interesting just central hub of a lot going on, which is cool. And just to kind of share more about this, like this is, I mean, look at how awesome this looks. Just the integration of residential, hotel, office, retail with the park life. This is going to be pretty futuristic.
I'll say, I mean, I'll play the video here if you want to see it. Just that,
steal my screen.
I know, right? I'm going to do it. But obviously, this is the current one. But they're doing great work with all of these 3D renderings.
It's awesome, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, if it actually ends up looking something like that, which I don't see why it wouldn't, they have a very, very ambitious vision, and props to city planning, because I feel like, particularly with communities like Boca Raton, that so much of their success is just that they're thinking past their next paycheck. You know what I mean? And I feel like this community has done that for a long time, you know, as an outsider who's still very new here.
Yeah, I agree. This is a big undertaking. Pompano is trying something similar, but Boca's pulling.
But they get it done. You know what I mean? That it's like, I feel like there's always a lot of talk. I mean, any town always has talks that we want to do this, do that. I always feel like Boca is one of the ones that actually executes.
Yeah, this is great. So so they talk about a little bit about like what exactly is going in here for everyone's, you know, reference. They're going to add the retail, the dining, a ton of public green spaces.
Look at that. I mean, that really looks nice.
Yeah, it's awesome. They're selling the dream right now.
I was going to say, and you got me hook, line, and sinker.
And they're planning 1,100 new housing units, including garden-style homes and modern mid-rise apartments. On top of that, a hotel and office space, so 150 key hotel and a 250,000 square foot office space, so you can rent in there as a business, right? So and again, it's directly connected via paths to the Bright Line, which is awesome. So, and obviously they're modernizing their city hall. They're redoing the city hall, which is usually part of this model, right? We've seen this, other cities do this. They, like Boynton, right? As an example, they start with the city hall. They built their city hall. And now they have all these other projects around it that are in process for going up. And Boynton's taking a little longer too. I would make a bet. Let's make a bet here. I make a bet Boca gets this done before Boynton does, and Pompano.
I could see that. Yeah, even as ambitious as it is, and the scale seems to be so much larger than what we've seen with those other communities. Yeah, I would take that bet.
Yeah, I think so. They're moving. I mean, I didn't expect them to move so fast to pick their developer this quick.
Right.
So
and there were a lot of submissions for it, and they did the city board did not waste any time deciding who they wanted. And as you can see, just the fact that they have all of these 3D renderings already tells me that they've been waiting for the right opportunity to roll this out in a South Florida community like a Boca Raton.
Yeah, they're rocking. So the next step here is by March 18th, so 2 weeks from now or less, City and Terra Frisbee Group will sign a short-term agreement to finalize the project scope. So that's the next step.
Yeah, it's and I guess I have one other shot here just to kind of give people a better idea of kind of the area and how much of it is encompassed in this project. When actually shot video of this a few weeks ago, maybe a month. I mean, definitely 2025, but yeah, that's all of it. You know, when you're flying the drone around and you realize that you don't even know if you can get high enough to take it all in. It's like, wow, this really is going to be something.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, almost not as far as the eye can see, but as far as you can see green, that's where the project goes to. And then all the way to the right to the train tracks, which you can't really see here, but it's all the way to the right. So that's, it's 33 acres. That's a lot of space anywhere, but that's a lot of space in Boca Raton. So I'm excited about this. This is going to be really cool. It's going to be game changing. So I'm excited to see how this unfolds here. So
now, since we're getting a little more into the details of the timeline, so the interim agreement, you're signing the short-term agreement to finalize the project by March 18th. And then we have the comprehensive agreement, construction and implementation, diggity, rat-a-tat-tat. Okay, so we obviously have a ways to go here, but it certainly looks promising.
I'm curious. They didn't report on when they're breaking ground yet, obviously, because they got to go through permitting, design, planning, all that stuff after they finalize the scope with the city. So there's a lot to go down here. So
yes,
we're talking about next year sometime, most likely 2026. I mean,
I guess my final thought before we move on. Did you know why they decided to pick this particular spot to kind of start this new area of, development? You know what I mean? Did something cause a spur to get them going here? Because it's not like I walk through there and oh my goodness, the City Hall area, what a dump. I mean, it doesn't look bad.
Yeah, no, it's not bad at all. Yeah. It's not bad at all. They've owned a lot of land in that territory. That's what it is. And then they've aggregated more over the years to execute the master plan. And it's not that it's a dump, but the buildings that I showed you are they're older.
They're a little right, I guess, on Boca's standard maybe. But it's interesting that they finally, it's once they got their mind set to something, they really they're moving along, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
This has been in their master plan for a long time. That's so this has been a long time coming. It's just been little by little implementing this and trying to execute.
Okay.
Yeah. And they had big parks there already, right? So the parks
right. I see the baseball fields, the softball fields, the parks. There's a lot of green space there, so it isn't there's nothing, and it looks well maintained. I mean, I've been by there several times.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. Well, we also have South Florida home prices matching record highs. Wow.
Yeah, let's.
I would have not. I mean, you have mentioned that before, but. According to the latest data from Florida Realtors, South Florida home prices have matched record highs with the median sales price hitting $650,000 in January. That's a 7.4% increase compared to the same time last year. All right, Larry, why is this happening?
Yeah, this is kind of let's say it feels counterintuitive to how the market feels right now as a realtor, right? Like we're running around, we're feeling like there's a lot of downward pressure on pricing, and yet these numbers keep surprising us, right? And I even pulled up some stats here just for Palm Beach County for starters, and I wanted to share this with everyone. Let me add this to the stage. So just Palm Beach residential real estate. You can see here the big thing we were talking about is pricing, right? Just sold median list price. Look at this. Look at this number, $549,000 in Palm Beach County, and you can see historically. Let me just remove pended. There you go. You can see historically we've come down a little bit, but we've also we're climbing back up. We're at record median pricing, sold pricing, which is huge. I mean, that's huge. This is surprising. I don't think this will continue. This can't continue. It doesn't feel like it's continuing. I mean, more price reductions, more people canceling listings, all of that's going on, and there's a reason for that. So, like, if you look around, you can kind of just see number of listings. If we go back, I mean, this is at record highs, number of listings, active listings. So, and sold listings has kind of come down a little bit. Like if I pull this out, that's the best way to look at that, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're at record lows for the number of homes sold on a monthly basis, right? And if I pop that out and pop this back in, you can kind of see, look at the last year number of listings. It's the best way to describe it, right? Growing. Like, look at that, 13,000 to over 15,500. So why, when we are climbing like crazy, number of listings are climbing like crazy, is the median sale price still going up? This is insane.
That's what I don't understand. Explain it to me, Larry. I don't understand.
Hold on. Let's just talk about a couple more things. So, like, look at the absorption rate. The absorption rate is basically the months of inventory. So basically, the way to describe absorption rate is it's the rate at which homes would sell completely. All the homes on the market would sell, assuming no new homes were added to the market and homes continued to sell at the same pace they are today. So basically, it's saying if no new homes were added to the market and the market continued to operate the way it was, how fast would we sell out all the homes? And in this case, we would sell out all the homes in 7.67 months. And for everyone's understanding, anything absorption rate less than 5 is a seller's market, and absorption rate 5 to 6 is a neutral market, and anything above a 6 is a seller's market. And so what you can see is, just like the inventory, the market is trending up into a seller's market. A buyer's market.
I was going to say, wait a minute.
Correct
I knew
me.
this on the test. What are you kidding?
Yeah, so it's a buyer's market. So it's very much in buyer's market territory. And last time when we reported on this, John, we were talking about, oh my gosh, it's a 7, right? And now we're at a 7.67. This keeps climbing. This doesn't typically happen like this. Usually it flattens out during the season, February, March, and April. And you can see it's not flattening. In fact, it's accelerating here. Like, this is pretty intense, the number of the inventory. Same with the absorption rate, which is pretty interesting. Also, what's interesting is the days on market are climbing. And historically, over the past few years, we have not seen this happen. We have seen the opposite happen. It tends to flatten out, level out during the season, but it's not leveling out during the season. When it tends to accelerate a little bit more during the summer, July, August, September, October, November, December, and then again, flatten out as far as days on market. So the market is typically a little stronger during the February, March, April, May months, and June, and a little weaker during the other times of the year here in South Florida. And we're not seeing that. We're seeing we're seeing it continue to soften through the strong months, which is weird. The only thing that's not softening is the sale price. But if you're actually in the field selling property, you know that, in fact, this price, well, this number, I get it. I'm an engineer. I love numbers. What I'm about to say is going to make old engineer me cringe. I don't believe these numbers.
Okay, why do you say that?
It's based on the experience that we're feeling in the field. It's like homes don't feel like they're selling for more than they were last year. It's just not. It's not the case. You know this. We have a number.
This is all Palm Beach County, right? Like maybe
this is all Palm Beach County. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
but I mean, arguably, like, you know, we're selling a lot of homes in Boca and Delray, and these are very strong markets, and you know, and so you would think. You would think the stronger markets would show better than the overall. But what I'm seeing here, and my opinion is we have homes that are on the market that were purchased a year ago for X number, call it 900, and were listed at 900, and we can't sell the property. So
just unrealistic expectations for buyer or for sellers, excuse me.
I mean, somebody bought it for 900 a year ago, now trying to sell it again for 900, and they can't sell it. It's just like, and this thing will probably, so that home will probably sell for 850, right? And it's like, well, that's a clear example of the values being less than they were a year ago. And that's not just one data point. That's like 5 data points, 6 data points, 10, right? Like every time we do this, it's the same thing over and over again. It does not feel like prices are going up. That's just facts. So I think, remember, these sold median list price data points are lagging. They're lagging by at least 30 days, usually 60 to 90 days, because it takes time from people to go under contract to close. So contract prices existed 2 months ago in a market that was 2 months ago are closing today. And that's what you're seeing here on that trend. Now, don't get me wrong; it continues to show that you're going up. It just doesn't feel that way. And the argument as to why these things are, you know, home values are going up still is just low inventory, and frankly, just like homes that are listed properly and in good condition are still selling well. Homes that are not in good condition are not selling well. And and so the homes that are in good condition and, you know, updated and well taken care of and well maintained, those homes are carrying this market right now. That's what it is.
Interesting.
So yeah, 100%. So
are you having to have a lot of heart-to-hearts with some of your seller clients right now and the prices?
You know, we're carrying like 40 plus listings. So like every day is the conversation. And now it's becoming even more because it's just so common. It's becoming more direct. It's just like, hey, here's the deal.
You're not tiptoeing through the tulips with these guys anymore.
Not anymore, because it's like, unfortunately, like what we believe is if you can sell your home during March or April, you're going to get the best price you're going to get for the next year, frankly. So, or more, maybe more. In my opinion. So sell it now and get it done. So don't mess around. Don't mess around with your property priced at a crazy number during the March madness, right? Like just don't do it, because you're killing your best time to sell that home. If you want to sell it now, or you're going to pay the price later, which the price is going to be more inventory during the summer, continued elevated interest rates. Interest rates came down, and then they came back up again, and then they came down again just a few weeks ago, and now they're coming back up again a little bit. So it's just all over the place. So you can't predict that. So yeah, that's the comment there. While we're talking about this, though, let's talk a little bit about, like, there's different types of properties, right? Condos, single family homes.
It sounds like the condos, it's a much different story from what I'm seeing here.
Well, check this out. We just pulled this data too. So this was a quick data pull. Now, okay, just to compare, the total market, days on market are almost 90. By the way, record. This is a record. We broke a record on days on market. So we're trending into different territory than we've seen in 15 years, right? So,
and this is the condos, to be clear.
No, this is single. This is
This is still single family homes. Okay.
This is everything, not even single. This is everybody.
Oh, this is all okay.
But the condos are leading the way. Here's the condos. So I pulled the data from condos from Boca, Boynton, Deerfield, Delray, Fort Lauderdale, Lake Worth, Pompano, West Palm. Just bounced around and pulled a bunch of the cities because it was just easier this way.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 2-year trend of days on market for condos. So this is condos only. We were living in the 50s in 2023, which was still up from where it was before. And now we're at 106 days on market.
Oh, wow.
So what's interesting is if I click over to this, we talked about the market overall being in the 7s, 7.5, 8 range for months of inventory absorption rate. Condos are, what is this? 15.58 months.
That's the absorption rate right now?
That's the absorption rate.
Oh, wow.
Records. Record. We haven't seen this since the Great Recession.
Oh, geez.
Just let me just repeat that, right? We haven't seen inventory or months of inventory absorption rate this high since the Great Recession. And this is the condo market specifically in this northern South Florida market, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't Miami. This is northern Broward and Palm Beach County. Some of the Palm Beach County on the coastline cities. So that's profound. Same with days on market. Same thing. This is a record number, and I don't think this is changing. This isn't slowing down. So, and then if you look at, is
this just in your estimation because people are having trouble selling, that they're just being unrealistic? Not, what would you attribute all of this to?
Yeah, and this.
I know, but I want to hear you say
it. It's all the negative PR, number one, but there's some truth to the negative PR, right? The negative PR is highlighting the expensive nature of condos these days, and that is high association fees, just maintenance fees in general, because of high insurance rates. Some of these buildings have been mismanaged. Some of these buildings need major renovations because they're 50 years old. They're even 30 years old. So these buildings have been around for a while and they need concrete restoration. They need millions and millions and millions of dollars of work. And these buildings are working through it, and they're assessing everyone who owns a condo in there. So for example, there's a unit we're selling right now, $35,000. And that's not a big deal. 35 G's at closing. You're paying the fee. The seller's paying the fee. And prices in there have dropped $100,000. $100,000. So, but when we talk about price trends, just look at this for a second. Hold on. It's not, it's kind of bouncing all over the place. So this isn't a smooth trend here, but this is the median sale price in condos, right? So you could see it's kind of this is 23 numbers down here in the 250 median price range, right? And then you can see we're back kind of at that 250 number. So it's not clear that this is just a plummeting market.
I'm shocked it's so volatile. Just usually when you're flashing those average numbers, that's when it looks like that. But the median's always much more stable.
Right, exactly. So it's a little all over the place. When you and I do these charts outside of this, it's smoother. But for the moment, we smooth it out. But for the moment, this is kind of what it looks like. And so I would just say the takeaway from this graph here is it's not clear. It's not clear that the market pricing is dropping, just like in the total market pricing. It's not clear that pricing is dropping. In fact, it's clear that it's increasing. But I would say this. The condo market, if anything, you could see the total market, it's saying it's increasing, and it's been showing that for a few months now. This market is lower than it's been in the past months of 2024, right? Mm-hmm. So, and that I would say is 100% true. What you paid for a condo early last year, you probably can't resell it for that price, most likely. Almost 100% certain of that. So usually what I tell people is like, when we're looking at stuff, we need to look at what's sold in the last 3 months. And if there's no data, we need to look at the actives and just see where they're at. And we just need to price below them, unfortunately, and just sell the thing, because this is just what it is. Unfortunately, the market is changing now, and you can't really use those comps from even a few months ago to answer the question. You definitely can't use them from early 24. So when you look back 12 months, like 12 months ago, it's not a good assessment of value. It's just not. Things are changing so fast. And here, I mean, it's a perfect example. Months of inventory, early 24 months of inventory were 6 now, or 6, 7, right? Now they're 15, 16, right? So this is just a perfect example of
that's wow.
This is bananas. Here's something interesting. Check out this condo volume, right? Again, it's not super clear, but the trend line's there, right? It's trending down. The volume, so the sold volume, the number of, the total sales volume of condos sold is substantially lower than it's been in the past year or two. Substantially lower. So it's just saying that condos are selling for less, and the number of them are selling for less. And there's an example of that here. Sold listings, number of listings sold, much less. So the demand has worn off for these condos, and thus inventory continues to climb while the condo market is under pressure, and sellers or owners are under pressure because the condos have become less affordable for them. It's kind of this perfect storm while interest rates are high, while insurance rates are high. Like everything is just like compounding in the condo market right now. And then the PR around the condo market in South Florida.
Yeah, we've been milking that for a couple of years now, it feels like.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, and I know it's especially tough to make any predictions given, the new administration and everything else that's going on. As best as you can, looking in that crystal ball, do you see it leveling out over the rest of 2025? What do you think is going to happen, in your expert opinion?
This is what I've been telling all our clients. I'm very fearful for what happens in the summer and the fall, because typically it's harder to sell a condo, which a lot of these condos are snowbird occupied and purchased by people from outside the area. And usually that transaction happens more frequently February, March, April, May. And so as we roll into the summer, typically it becomes tougher to sell. So, and what we saw last summer is inventory stacked up during the summer. And this is what we typically see. Inventory climbs a little bit during the summer. Days on market climb a little bit during the summer. And so this will happen again. And it will likely happen at a faster pace because the winter months here, the hot season, it's climbing at a faster pace. So I'm concerned for our clients if they don't sell. And so what we've been saying is hey, if you have a number and we're not getting it, okay, great. Just note that don't make this business decision that I'm just going to take it off the market and then relist it again next year. That's worked for the past 13 years because the market has just climbed. I don't know if that's really going to happen over the next year or two. If you're gonna, and so what we tell people is if you're gonna hold the property, plan to hold it for 3+ years. And then it makes sense. If you're gonna hold it and rent it, because the options are always like, hey, if I can't get my number, I'll just rent it out. And it's like, yeah, okay, great, we can rent it out. But if you're gonna rent it for a year to just then sell it next year, there's a good chance the property is going to be worth less next year. And the rental income you make on these things, because you got to pay assessments and HOA fees and all these other things that come with this, isn't really going to generate you a huge return. By the way, the rental market for condos is tanking too. So
well, you read my mind. I was like, how is the rental market going? Yeah. Because we have seen more of those lately, I feel like.
So that's, yeah, totally. And so that's the conversation. So when we get into the actual weeds around this, we're like, okay, well, then they're like, well, what can we rent it for? And we start to show them the comps and we say, well, here's the comps. And these comps from, a year ago are this, but we need to look at the comps from the past 3 months. And the past 3 months don't look that pretty. And then you start doing your math, $1,000 a month in HOA fees, and I'm getting $2,000, $2,500, $3,000 in rent. And then I
Larry, might have lost you here. Well, Larry has checked out for the moment, but as we were talking about with the rental market with condos in South Florida, particularly in Palm Beach and Broward County, obviously that has made a difference. Oh, and he got up, so I don't know if something happened here, but anyway, Larry,
Am I
you back? Yeah, you lost you for a second. What were you saying about the rental market?
Well,
I was going to say, I hope your whole train of thought wasn't gone, but
it's gone.
I guess, my question to kind of stay on that topic, what is the demographic of renters you're seeing right now when it comes to the condo market here? And obviously you work with a lot of luxury condo people. So I'm like trying to picture who would be an ideal renter for something like that, because it's kind of niche,
Yeah, we get a blended, a blend of different humans. I mean, we get people that they're snowbirds, but they rent annually anyway, and they just keep a place here and they just bounce back and forth. That's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
We get a lot of seasonal people. Obviously, that's a big thing here, right? Seasonal just rent from anywhere between November and June, somewhere in that window. They do 3 to 6 months, right? And then just for and then it's just people, a lot of people maybe in a temporary situation looking to figure out what they're doing in South Florida. They just relocated here. When it comes to these luxury rentals,
right,
it's kind of a temporary thing. We do a lot of stuff for people that are building a home, as an example, right? So they hang out
that's
for
a good
year,
point. Yeah.
2 years. Yeah.
I was just trying, because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, I have a family of 4. They're not going to rent a condo necessarily. I mean, who would fit the mold for trying to fill that void of rentals for condos? Because like you said, I guess at the end of the day, if you're serious about selling, you're just going to have to bite the bullet and, stick it out.
That's exactly it. So you either just choose to sell and you take the L, right?
Right. And I guess nobody wants to do that, understandably.
Or you choose to rent for 3 years and you take the L. So, right. So
you take, one way or the other, you're taking the L here. So get used to it.
That's I empathize with it, but I just have this conversation. I spend an hour on the phone with most clients talking through every creative route that is just not going to work to get out of taking the L. And at the end of the day, eventually that's where we end up in this condo market a lot of times. Now, for people who bought in 2018, 2015, whatever, they're great. Their basis is great. But if you bought in 22 or 23 or 24 and you're reselling, good chance you're taking the L. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll keep you all posted as that situation continues to develop, because it will. As looking down the list of discussion topics, and kind of in line with the theme of what we've just been going over here, South Florida's housing market gets quote unquote troubling sign. Yeah, I could see that. This was an article actually from Newsweek at the end of last month, so like a week or 2 ago. Inventory in South Florida, as mentioned, it's rising fast. Broward County is nearly 10 months of housing supply. Well, that's nothing compared to the 15 months going on with the condo market here in Palm Beach County. But in any case, that's still a whole lot. Now, according to Nick Gurley, CEO of Reventure App, the troubling sign for home prices is, of course, that 10 months of housing supply as we shift into a buyer's market. They try to break down here why this, softening market, what's causing the huge increase in inventory and so on. Larry, what's your take on this?
I would just say, some of the breakdown here is very high level. So it's not as specific to South Florida. So they say booming construction. Yeah, they've been building here, but not at the rate that's substantial enough to kind of plow inventory on the market. Other parts of Florida have larger construction platforms and areas to do that. So that's not really super applicable to South Palm Beach County, North Broward market. But but it's more, I mean, then they talk about the condo laws, as we just discussed, affordability struggles. That was a big one. And I think that's the biggest one here. It's the interest rates, the insurance, the condo laws, which have driven up costs short term to cross the, to manage the work that needs to be done for these aging buildings and just the safety in general for these buildings. So that's the big driver. So they're saying the same thing we're saying, right? Which was, hey, absorption rate's super high, and our numbers are higher than what they were saying in Florida overall. So we're seeing a big turn. It's a big turn here. And so again, if you're selling, man, if I'm a seller, I'm getting it done now, quick, because
that's the moral to this story, I feel like.
Yep. And for buyers, I mean, who knows where the bottom is on any of this stuff, and it's probably not terrible, but now might not be a bad time to jump in. As you can see, we are no longer, as listing agents, in complete control of everything, right? Like we used to be 2-3 years ago. Now we have to negotiate. We have to work with buyers. we have to accommodate them. So, yeah.
Now here's a question, and I know you don't exactly have the exact figures in front of you, but I feel like with a lot of this stuff, and the elephant in the room that we all just kind of, overlook, is the insurance. That is, I feel like there still isn't an answer for what's been happening with the rising rates. And, we're almost a year removed from when we did that big Florida condo crisis report. Has there been any sort of relief with the insurance or anything like that?
There are more companies floating around. Like when we are doing insurance, or like when we're selling a house or buying a house, it's a little bit more flexible. Okay. But it's still really stringent. And part of that is, like, for example, the roof items are just like, if there's any issue with a roof, like it's very hard to get insurance. We used to be able to do all these tactics. We used to be able to place it with a different insurer. We could still do some of that, but it's much harder than it ever was. Same with electric panels. Same with anything that's kind of outside the realm of perfect for these insurance companies. They're nailing you on the 4-point for these things if they show up, and they're not wanting to insure. So again, that goes back to, like, the buyer then goes back to the seller and asks for concessions or solutions. And now we're involved in, a $5,000 to $10,000 or more concession or resolution, where the roofer comes out, the electrician comes out, et cetera, et cetera. So it's again, just more downward pressure on pricing, and the consumer is even that much more aware and much more focused on this roof thing. We find it like a big deal. Older roof, 20 years old or more, the buyers are just like hyper focused on it. They just don't want to deal with it. And they know the cost, because some of these roofs are like $50,000. Some you can get for, okay, it depends on the roof, but like some of these projects that we're working on, most of them are $50,000 roofs. So like the buyers know this, and they just don't want any part of it, partially because sometimes they can't get insurance, or they fear it. They fear that they can't get insurance, or that they'll get dropped, or something of that nature. So buyers are not interested, and sellers don't always appreciate that, especially sellers who haven't never sold a home or have only sold homes outside the state of Florida. It's a very different experience here than it is elsewhere in the country when it comes to roofs and insurance. So,
okay,
that's a random tangent. It's a little better.
No, well, my question was kind of random, but it's just been there in the back of my mind, and we're just talking about all these factors that have been going into the downward pressure on prices and whatnot. So I had to throw it out there and see how you could handle it.
Yeah.
I know but I just wanted to touch on that again, since we're, again, at least about a year, it feels like, almost, since it really was addressed that, hey, why are these insurance rates skyrocketing? And they're not just going up. They are, I mean, you remember the curve.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, personally, I've had to put 7 roofs on this year for my personal properties.
Oh, wow.
So like, and this is all insurance driven. Like I have buildings that still don't have insurance on them because we're still finishing up some of the stuff. So so it's been a mess. Yeah, it's been a mess. But this is interesting. This article was talking about Fort Lauderdale versus other Florida cities. And it says Fort Lauderdale isn't the only city that's seeing the shift. Cape Coral, Miami, West Palm Beach are all experiencing rising inventory levels. Cape Coral actually has the highest supply in the state at 11.6 months. That's a big jump from last year, is what they say. So, yep.
Yeah, and the twist is, as we were talking about earlier, is the fact that the home prices aren't dropping. Like again, I just have to assume, if I knew nothing else about them, like I just picture home sellers being really stubborn about it. Like, no, I'm going to get this for it, so help me God.
Yeah. It just shows that here, specifically in South Florida, the demand is still there. This is what I tell sellers. The demand is still there. If you price the property right, you sell it. Mm-hmm. If you miss on pricing, the market is very sensitive. So you can't, like now, because of the inventory levels, because of the way it is, if you miss on your list price, you get a larger consequence than you did 2 years ago, right? The consequence is greater. You don't get the offers, you don't get the traffic. But if you hit the list price right, you get the traffic. People show up and they buy the house, and that's it. Done. This isn't like complicated. It's not rocket science, assuming the marketing is done properly.
Right.
Some people don't appreciate that, but that's the case. It's just facts. And as the inventory continues to climb, that statement that I just made is going to be more and more true. You got to price it right, because if you don't, you're hurting yourself. And as people see properties sit on the market longer, they make lower offers and they think something's wrong with it. And then you fall into the category of everybody else that can't sell their home. And now this is where you get hurt from a resale price perspective as a seller.
Too many real estate prima donnas, right?
So, yeah.
Man. Well, home sale prices in the month of January, this is nationally, actually home sales fall as high mortgage rates and prices freeze out buyers. So I guess as we take a look at more of the national statistics, to the surprise of no one, that there's sort of the same trends going on with, having to deal with the high mortgage rates, of course, and other things. I mean, have you kept an eye on the national trends, or are you pretty dialed into just what's happening in South Florida right now?
I think the national trends are kind of mimicking what we're seeing in general. It's just different levels of intensity, right? So what they're saying here is home sales fell. So the number of homes sold basically hit record lows since COVID. Frankly, a lot of these rates, a lot of these stats are comparing things to. So which is super interesting. And that's what we saw in these examples here that we were just talking about. Number of homes sold listings are very low relative to what they were even 8 months ago, the number of homes sold. And this is very typical. Look at this trend. We talked about it. Come around January, everything tends to drop. Okay, here we go. All right. January, February, March, April, May, June. So May and June, you see the height, and then you see the drop through the summer into the fall, right? This is the number of homes sold. And then you see it start to climb back up as you hit January. Number of homes sold. Look at that stat. This is condos specifically. Then again, when you hit June, number of homes sold drops off. But guess what didn't happen this year?
It didn't come back up.
Go back up.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the moment. I'm telling you.
So that was so that's the real indicator of what's going on.
Condo owners, sell your homes now. If you're on the market, just sell them, drop the price and sell the homes. This is super simple. I'm never this convicted about things. You know this.
Yeah.
This to me is like, look at this, guys. Look at this. The market is not doing what it's done for the past 2 years and every year before that for the past 12. Something bad is happening. And it's not looking good. And so while the median sales price might look okay right now, I'd be surprised if it doesn't. But again, I've been wrong before. So
yeah, but like you said, this time it's different though. That is a very distinct difference. I mean, it always seems,
very different.
As I've started following this, working for you, that the first 4 months of the year, 5 months, whatever, I mean, it's noticeable in the drops. But wow, I mean, nothing. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep. Like no growth in sold prices, and it's sold number of sold units. So, and yeah, so it's just,
well,
yep. So that's it. That's what's happening here.
I sense that you've had to show this chart to a lot of your clients lately.
Yeah. So, and then look at this is the active listings chart.
Oh man.
Number of active listings in condos.
Yeah.
2 years ago, we had less than 4,000 active listings in this area. Now we have over 8,000. It has doubled. There's no way prices remain at the level they were 2 years ago if the inventory has doubled. It's just not a thing. It's not a thing. It's supply and demand. And the demand is wearing off and the supply is going up. This is very simple. Mm-hmm. So unless the interest rate changes, which it's unlikely to do because again, median sales prices are staying high. For now, we're not gonna see this change. So we're gonna see these prices come down. So,
well, as we continue to look over, the last 12 to 24 months, one of the interesting articles that came up recently, this was from the Sun Sentinel, was discussing the shift towards townhomes in South Florida. Evidently in Broward County, this was over the course of 2024, townhouses made up 46% of new single family construction. I don't know what the normal ratio is of homes versus townhomes or whatever, but I mean the fact that it's almost half of single family construction does feel like a lot. What did you think when you saw this?
My reaction is it makes sense, right? It's just there's an affordability issue and there's no place to build stuff. So let's just squeeze as much stuff in as we can for the most affordable price for the consumer. So this seems to be like the best option. It's like the in-between. You don't need to live in a condo. You get a little bit of a backyard-ish thing. We just did one in Lake Worth. They mentioned Lake Worth in this article, and we just put one under contract. New home buyers, what are they paying? They're paying under 400, I believe, under 400 grand for this brand new construction townhome built by Lennar. Great, super clean. It's 3 bedrooms plus an office. So basically 4 bedrooms. 2.5 baths, and a great space, just a great space. And so this is awesome for a new young couple, just, a few years out of college, got good jobs, and they're just going to enjoy this and live in it. And they're going to have a little bit of backyard space. They're going to have a little garage. It's great. And so this is a great product for our area right now, in my opinion. It's just perfect. They can have a dog, they can have a cat, they can do whatever they want. Whereas like these condo buildings, even new construction condos, just are complicated, more complicated than that. And I think a lot of people are looking for at least that 1-car garage, right?
Well, I was going to say you basically described my sister and her family, to a T. I mean, recently married, 2 little kids, moved into a brand new townhome in the DC area. I can understand the allure of the low maintenance lifestyle. Totally.
Low maintenance lifestyle. It's like a kind of like a condo, but it's not as annoying as a condo can be.
It's like the starter set.
Yeah. Now I get the benefit of the condo too. The condo for younger people is cool too, or the rental apartment in some of these institutional buildings is awesome too. It's like there's all these amenities, there's all these people that are usually similar ages. There's this social aspect of it. It's usually in a very downtown market, and so that's great too. But for people that are looking for a little bit of a different feel and vibe and lifestyle, this is perfect. And there's a lot of people out there that are looking for this, and it fits perfect for some of these developers to build these townhomes when the city's looking for it. They're looking for more affordable housing. So this is like a good option.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Seems like there really are a lot of new townhome projects. I'm not going to rattle off all the numbers for every single one that went on in Broward County in 2024, but take our word for it. There were a lot.
Yeah. They mention here 210 townhomes under construction in Lake Worth. Again, we just Lennar just finished a project too. And there's a number of them that are just completed or in completion right now that aren't even on this list we're looking at right now, John. So yeah.
All right. Well, that makes sense. Now, if there's any, positive note to some of the topics we've been discussing this evening, the 30-year mortgage rate falls for the 6th straight week to its lowest level since December. So, yay.
Yeah. And so as we were talking about earlier, actually, I pulled some of this stuff up so we could look at it. Let's see here. Nope. That's the depressing chart.
Which one?
So this is the 30-year mortgage from Freddie Mac here. So you can see, we're not at all-time highs here. I mean, they were riding in the 17s for a minute here. So, but we are in the 6s and 7s, and we've been there since 22, right?
Right.
We've hit that number somewhere in the mid 22s. I remember the chaos of that moment when rates changed and our sellers were panicking to get on the market in August, and it just was kind of crazy. And we were just trying to sell these things, and it had an impact on how we could sell homes then. And now we've been living with that for 2.5, almost 3 years now. And I think it's going to continue for a while here. And so it's come down a little bit. We've seen the 10-year come down, which is an influencing factor on the 30-year mortgage rate typically. So, but it's just actually popped back up a little bit too. We've been watching this. And the reason why I know this so closely, not just because we're working with clients, but also because I'm in the process of borrowing for our multifamily purchases and refinances and all these things we got going on. So we're like monitoring this, trying to time it, which is impossible. But we got loans in the mix here, and we're trying to figure out when to lock, et cetera, et cetera. So, and the reality is like, you just can't, you can't figure,
right.
You can't guess. You just, so yeah, we got one floating right now. And we're watching. We're like, lock it, quick, lock it. And then the bank's like, no, I can't lock it right now. We got to get through this X, Y, and Z first. And then now the rates are coming back up again. We're like, shoot. So yeah. So this is definitely a factor in people's ability to buy things, buy homes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So as we're continuing to look at the list here, do you want to go into the top 5 reasons mortgage applications get denied and how to fix them, or do we want to save that for next week? Save that for next week. I think that's a nice topic to open with next week.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. Well, anyway, a lot is changing with the real estate market, particularly in South Florida. So Larry, as always, doing the best to let us know what's going on with that and how we should, approach these things. Because man, that's a lot to take on. There was no sunshine and rainbows with this one.
Yeah, not really.
All right. Well, on behalf of Larry Mastropieri, broker, owner of the Mastropieri Group, I'm John Laws of Discover South Florida. Just want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we will see you on the next one.